Hi,
Hi. Hi. Welcome to Hot and Bothered. I'm Hitha,
I'm Laura Brownstein.
and we are two friends who love books, steamy books particularly, have a lot of issues bothering us and that we care about, and just more general chit chat.
Hitha, you should tell everybody that you are an author and a fancy bookfluencer.
My day job is in the pharmaceutical industry. I run a company developing injectable aspirin, but my true passion are books, writing them. I'm the author of We're Speaking, The Life Lessons of Kamala Harris, and How to Pack, Travel Smart for Any Trip. I love reading and have been one of those bookworm kids that as long as I had a book, you could leave me alone and I would be fine. Especially romance novels. They bring me such joy right now. And I'm so excited that we get to have to chat about our favorites, what we're reading, what we're loving, and what we're activating around. Laura, what about you?
I always, yes, only child, head in a book my whole life. I always loved romance novels, and I have to admit, I used to not want to talk about that. I would be talking about, like, oh, the corrections, rather than a knight in shining armor. You know what? Some of those romance novels have stayed with me much longer, and I am now grown enough to know that joy is resistance and we have to embrace what we love. And women, especially embracing joy and romance and independence, which most of the books you and I love have some element of that. I spent most of my life as a magazine editor at 17 at Self and was lucky enough to be at Cosmo for many years, where I edited our Red Hot Read section. I edited some of our steamy Cosmo books. I wrote the Cosmopolitan Bedside Astrologer, but well, co-wrote it. In recent years, I've been working in politics. I do a lot of work at the intersection of kind of women, power, government, was just on the presidential campaign. So there's a lot bothering me. So I am escaping from the real world in much of my reading at the moment. And so my
Mhm.
current read is Onyx Storm, which
Yeah.
I am so enjoying. I think it is as good as Fourth Wing. I thought Iron Flame seemed rushed, to be honest. Like it's taking me longer to read because it's so good. I don't want to miss a word.
I love that. I loved Onyx Storm. It was a book I literally could not put down. I toggled between reading it on my Kindle and listening to it. So the audiobook is
Wait, what
fantastic.
is your term for doing that? That
I
makes me
call it slutty reading because I
laugh.
read every which way I can. But I also read every genre under the sun. So maybe I'm a slut for that as well. I'm just a slut for
Yeah,
books.
when I'm reading more than one book at a time, I sometimes think it's a little slutty, like, oh my God, I'm devoted to you, but also,
But that's just my normal MO.
yeah.
Like I'm
And I think
totally
we should make the point, as much as we both love romance,
yeah.
we also love many other genres, including, you know, fancy literature and poetry and, graphic novels for me. And we love all kinds of books.
We do, we do. And right now, I am about to start rereading Onyx Storm. I promised a friend of mine that I would buddy read it with her. She's
Fun.
been saving it until today. She defends her dissertation for her
Because it's
PhD
Valentine's?
thing.
Oh, okay. I thought
Well,
because it's Valentine's Day. Happy
also, like, why
Valentine's
not
Day.
reread one of my favorite books of like ever,
Yeah.
potentially? What I loved
Ooh.
about honestly,
Do
I was
you think it's making like a top 10?
oh, absolutely. Especially in fantasy romance. I don't like the term romantasy. I think it sounds a little
Oh,
cheesy, but
oh,
whatever.
okay. I use it all. Or I call it fairy smut.
No, but I also am like this, like the world building,
Yeah.
especially in Onyx Storm, I think is as gripping and as outstanding as, the books that we tend to venerate as some of the best fantasy writing. I
Oh,
think,
this is so much better than Game of Thrones and
yeah,
all of that misogynist bullshit. And I read all the books. I was going through a breakup summer of 2011, and I just sat and read every single one of the books in a row. And this is so much more well written and a more, I think, deeply envisioned world.
what I really love about Onyx Storm is how it does have vibes of Throne of Glass, not quite Throne of Glass,
Oh, I
but
only did Throne of Glass. I didn't do the whole series. You know,
yeah.
I started the second one and I fell off. Should I go
Laura,
back? Because
Laura.
A Court of Thorn and Roses and Crescent City, you know, span are maybe one of my favorite series of all time.
But Throne of Glass is better.
What?
Yes,
There wasn't a lot of sex?
it gets there.
Okay.
But
But the
truly,
first book, not so much with the sex.
no, no, you don't really get it until like book three, four. But I promise you, the world building, the characters, the journey, you will get there. It is amazing.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay.
You must read Throne of Glass.
All
Okay.
right.
So those who are watching or listening, if you know, you know. We'll talk about this after you finish Throne of Glass. So I too am also reading Onyx Storm. I'm rereading it to join my friend Emma as like because she said I'm waiting on it, but I won't have anyone to discuss it with. And I'm like, I could already use a refresher. So let me join you on this journey. I am also reading Inner Excellence, and this book has like a very funny story behind it. So, for those of you who don't know, I am one of the biggest Philadelphia Eagles fans you will
She's the
ever meet.
cutest,
Yes.
cutest
I
bird.
I own an Eagle costume. I'm like a Times Square swoop. I was wearing it the entire Super Bowl. And I would stand, like when I realized where I was standing and hanging out with friends, if the Eagles started playing poorly, I would just move back to where they were playing well. In any case, one of the Eagles wide receivers, AJ Brown, incredible, incredible human, is very open on talking about his struggles with mental health, which really make me feel seen. He was spotted on the sidelines of a playoff game where he wasn't playing so well, reading a book called Inner Excellence, which this is
Okay.
the book right here by
Okay. By whom?
Jim Murphy.
Okay.
And this was like a very small indie, if not self-published personal development book that really is all about healing yourself from within so you can show up as excellent in everything else you do. Very much a book I could use right now. But one reason I'm like, love this story behind this book is after he was spotted reading this specific book, Eagles fans just like flooded Amazon and bookstores, immediately bought it,
Oh, that's
immediately
so nice.
reviewed it, made the book out number one on Amazon. And this is when like Onyx Storm and a lot of big books have come out. This 6-year-old book surged to the top of the bestseller list on Amazon, and in the following week, the New York Times bestseller list.
Oh my God, I love that.
So great story behind the book,
Has
but
the author done interviews?
he's done a few. So he did one with Maria Shriver's The Sunday Paper. He's done one
Good.
with Kate Couric Media. And he was also just so humbled and overwhelmed at like this late success of the book.
Yes.
So as an author whose books are several years old, it's one of those things that just brings me a lot of joy knowing that you never know what could happen
I love
for
that.
your book to kind of hit the mainstream again. You never know who's reading. And this is one of the few rare books written by a man that I actually read because normally I'm just like, it's just women. It's just women of color for me. So Jim,
I have like a British author once in a while. Like I like to throw in Ian McEwan, Martin Amis into the mix once in
yeah,
a while. There's a few male authors that are fun.
yeah.
I tore through The Passage. Did you read the Passage by Justin Cronin, I think his name is? It's like a big apocalypse series that was awesome.
Oh, I should check that out. I do like Blake Crouch's books when it comes to sci-fi written by men. I like the Leviathan Wakes, the Expanse series. There was a great show adaptation from Sci-Fi
Justin
Network.
Cronin, The
On.
Passage. Yes, Justin Cronin's the name of the author.
So S.A. Corey wrote the Leviathan Wakes and the whole Expanse series, and that is actually some of the best science fiction writing I've ever read.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna look that up.
Highly recommend. And
Amazing.
these are like the only men I guess I read.
All right, so we talk about what is bothering us.
A lot of confirmations this week for a lot of people whose values I believe are completely antithetical to American values.
Well said. Well said.
Um,
Of them who just have values that are antithetical to common sense. is
Yes.
one of the things that troubles me. Like common sense. Um, like
Yeah.
the polio vaccine, like shit like that.
And as someone who had an aunt and an uncle who did have polio when they were children and I've seen what it's done to them. Like my aunt completely lost her vision at a very young age, could never see. My uncle was left like visibly much, much weaker and had various health struggles throughout his life that, you know, these vaccines save lives. Like we don't
Yeah.
have measles and mumps anymore because of these vaccines. And as someone who works in drug development, I wonder about the potential mass exodus from the FDA. Something that gets a lot of, I think, some misinformation about is yeah, the drug industry does fund the FDA in order to keep those scientists reviewing our applications
Hmm.
employed to
Yeah.
regularly inspect facilities that manufacture active pharmaceutical ingredients and manufacture the drugs to make sure all the vendors, like who manufacture your vials, your stoppers, your packaging, or your filling needles, are in good standing with the agency, that they're doing everything they're supposed to do. Our drugs are safe and effective because we have a FDA
The
that is
governing body.
funded by the people developing a product. And when you're a small company like mine, where your total development budget is like $7 to $10 million, a $2 million filing fee is like a major expense, but one that is well worth it. Because if we didn't fund the FDA, your products that have no safety guarantee, the effectiveness guarantee, or that the applications are reviewed within a specific time frame, all that goes away. So one thing that gives me some comfort is that PDUFA Act, Prescription Drug User Fee Authorization, doesn't expire till 2027.
Oh, okay.
We have a little bit of breathing room, at least for that. So
Well,
I guess
is that something that will be challenged?
I'd like to say Congress is smarter than that. Maybe what I should say is I believe the Senate is smarter
Okay.
than that.
Okay, let's end. What's making us hot?
It's making us hot. Well, it is Valentine's Day, the day we
Yes.
are recording this. Actually, and also Love is Blind dropped today. And it is one of my, I'm not guilty about anything that brings me
Yeah,
pleasure. So it is, I'm glad I have a really messy home so I can kind of keep it on while I'm breaking down boxes and doing laundry and putting clothes
perfect.
away. So that is what's making me hot right now, as well as the random amount of candy that I've just been hoarding and buying. I'm just gonna like munch through today.
I finally saw Babygirl this week. Have you seen it?
Not yet.
All right, I won't spoil it then, but there's a lot to like about it. I can't wait to talk about it once you have seen it. My nice boyfriend is said I'm gonna go out and pick things up and prepare Valentine's dinner.
That's so nice.
Yeah. True Valentine.
Oh, hi, kitty.
Princess Annabelle Lee. She
Mhm.
is named for the Edgar Allan Poe poem, Annabelle Lee. And she is not,
She's
um,
ready to escape.
she's non-compliant. She's
As
pretty
every
enough to be a model, but just is a not doesn't really have the personality for it.
Anyway, that's it for us today. Make sure if you're on YouTube watching this, subscribe. If you get this on your Substack or someone forwarded it to you, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at We Are Hot and Bothered, and we'll see you next time.
Right?